All right. Okay. Hey, my name's Christian Lee here for Earworm Digital. I'm here with, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hey, this is Michael Brun.
And Michael, you're doing good. I heard, you said it was like snowing in New York, but that's not
It,
stopping you, right?
no. I luckily have my studio at home, so it's pretty easy to get to
That's
work. I just have to
nice.
wake up.
And so it's
Yeah,
cold outside, but you're making some heat inside, right?
exactly. Yes.
That's great. And so let's talk about right off the bat, let's talk about the single that you dropped last month, Clueless. And it's with I'm pretty bad with names, so I don't want to mispronunciate, but it's like
Oxlade.
Oxlade, yeah.
Oxlade. Yeah, that's it.
And so I was
Yeah.
wondering, how did that come together? How did you decide to collab with him?
So I'd been working with a few artists out of West Africa for a while. So
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Easy is a really good friend. Adekune Gold, Callow, a bunch of different artists in different genres actually. And just by collaborating with so many artists from the region, I heard about a bunch of really cool ones. And Oxlade at the time was just super talented. Like I'd heard his name from a few different people, and by chance he was in New York a few years ago for his first sessions. And so like literally the first sessions that he had was at my apartment, which is pretty wild in the
That's
US.
wild. Wow.
Yeah, so we ended up making a couple of songs then, and that was like basically I think it was 2020 from what I remember. It was pretty early days of the pandemic, like maybe like 6 months after it started. So we met up, really connected well, started working on a couple songs, one of which was Clueless. And yeah, I was a fan of his since the beginning. When I heard his first releases, I thought that he had such an incredible voice. Like
Mm-hmm.
the way he was writing his songs were unique to him, and I thought that what he ended up making with, especially there was a song called "Away" that was really amazing that I had heard. What we ended up doing with Clueless was like an extension of that, and he was great. So I'm so happy the song is finally out because we spent a couple years working on this to make sure it was like the perfect version of it.
And I'm wondering, because you said you did a few sessions with him, made some songs. Do you think there's any songs in the future that you two are collabing on that are coming out soon too?
Yeah. Actually, both of the songs that we worked on, we finished. So I think the other one maybe will show up one day. But
Nice.
it was fun working with him. He's like honestly, he's of everybody that I've worked with, I think his approach to melody is really impressive because he has a huge vocal range. Like he can sing octaves, and he his arrangement in his head too. Like he's able to arrange like stacks of harmonies in a way that very few people that I've met can do. So he's
Wow.
in my opinion, he's a genius. I think he's really incredible.
Wow, that's high praise. That's high praise.
Yeah.
And that is very high praise because you've worked. Just based from what I've seen, because I'm a Spotify guy, I could see your discography. I see you've collabed with numerous people, like countless people. And
Yeah.
so I'm wondering too, though, like how do you choose and like select who to feature like on songs or who to work with?
Yeah, honestly, it's vibe. Like when I work with people,
All
I think
vibes, yes, yes.
yeah, it's how it is, and I think when you meet people, uh, and you actually get to speak with them, you understand like what their intentions are with the art
Mhm.
that they create, and like I love just meeting people. I love the process of making music. To me, is just as much about connecting with somebody as it is what the final output sounds like. And I
Yeah.
think in the case of the artists that I've had a chance to work with and collaborate with, they've all become friends. So that's it's a really big blessing to just like get to make music with friends. I think that's like the most
That's
fun
cool.
thing. And
Yeah.
especially when the songs get big, it's pretty cool to see like people react to something that you just did with a friend and that you guys just really enjoy.
Yeah, no, that is probably a great feeling. So I take it you're a bit of an extrovert then, huh?
I think so. I don't know. I feel like I connect with people, I think pretty easily because of my upbringing. Because I was born in Haiti, but I'm Haitian Guyanese. And so my mom was Asian heritage. And so her background was like Chinese, Indian, and
Mm.
Black. And then my dad was Haitian, but he was like French and African. And there's like a bunch of mixes. So growing up in Haiti, I definitely looked different than a lot of Haitians because I was like one of the few Asian looking Haitians in the whole country. So I think because of that, it like forced me to be very extroverted whenever I met with people, because I always would have to explain like, okay, this is why I look the way I do, and connect with people in that way. And yeah, I'm really grateful for my experience growing up in Haiti, because it gave me like a lot of, I think, perspective in the world, and understanding like your heritage. And I think it's served me well for sure in my life.
Yeah. And I've read in other interviews too. I've seen, like let's go back to Haiti a little bit. That you're you're not afraid. I mean, not I guess that's not the right word, but you love obviously you love Haiti. Like at past shows, you have the
Mhm.
Haitian flag, you carry it basically on your back. You represent the country really well, I think.
Yeah, it's a big part of everything that I've done, I think, because there's, for anybody that knows the history of Haiti and public perception of Haiti, it's an island that for a lot of the past like 200 years has had so many
Yeah.
big issues, whether it's like economically, politically. It's been a very,
Geographically.
yeah, just very difficult history. And I think at the same time, it has such a huge influence and a huge importance to the entire region, to basically what the Western world looks like today. It was the first country to gain its independence from slave revolution, which was like in 1804. It's like
That's crazy.
over
Yeah.
200 years ago. It's a long time. And I think just knowing like how much of an impact that had on the entire formation of the United States as it is today, and like Central America and the rest of the Caribbean, it's sometimes lost. I think historically, maybe people don't understand all that. So for me, like having grown up there and being half Haitian, and getting to the point where like I have a career in the music industry, where I've had a chance to like work with so many incredible artists from around the world and win a Latin Grammy and have multiple like multi-platinum records. And it's like it's a really big statement to me to have reached this point in my life. And I think it's also a responsibility for me to, as one of the few Haitians that's made it this far, uh, to constantly send back good energy to the country and other artists and community, because I feel like if I don't do it, I don't know, like it's a
Exactly.
responsibility. Like
Yeah.
I want to see more. I want to see more success from the country. I want to see more positive imagery and like better understanding of how much it means to me for the rest of the world. So I'm always going to champion.
Yeah, I think you've done a great job with that too. And excuse me, like I'm not trying to butcher this one, but you've had a like annual tour, like you do an annual tour, or you do some
Bayo.
tour dates of Bayo.
Yeah, that's
And
it.
I've
Yeah.
heard, yeah, you do like you bring out like I think over like 20, 25 like Haitian artists, and it's just like a
Yeah.
whole big event.
Yeah. So I've been doing those. I started them in Haiti. It's now I think our seventh year this year, which is pretty wild.
Wow,
But
that is wild.
we've had many dates. Like we've played in over 10 cities. We've had probably in total like 40 plus artists across the
Mhm.
dates. And then the whole point of that show is, I think it's really exciting to be able to have a show where like I'm bringing artists from Haiti or from the Haitian diaspora into venues that are really iconic venues in all these cities. So like we did Brooklyn Steel and Pier 17 in New York, and we did like the Fairmont Theater in Montreal. And it's like a lot of really iconic venues in these different House of Blues in Boston. And it's like places where you would go see any artist from any part of the world, right? Like big American stars or European stars, but then you see like Haitian artists in that venue. It's to me, it's like a really important way for people to contextualize like what the music is. And then at the same time, what's been fun about those block parties is like I get to bring artists that I work with in the international space too. So I've had people like J Balvin and
Yeah,
the Fuji, like Wyclef from the Fugees, and like
that's insane. Yeah.
Maxwell and Major Lazer, and like all these different people that I've collaborated with or that are friends, to like come out on the same stage as these artists. And I think it just helps people to understand, and it helps to bring as much value as possible. So to me, it's really fun, but also has a big importance to the culture. And I've enjoyed putting those shows together.
That's great. And I just want to say though, I know you've done, all the major cities, but like please do more West Coast states for those.
Yeah, we're
I've
working on it.
I've noticed it's mainly just East Coast.
Yeah, no. It's definitely coming. I think part of it too is building up the story. And I feel like at this point we've gotten to like, you know, we're the next shows we're doing this year in the East Coast are starting to get to like 5,000 plus people. So
Dang.
yeah, I think it's time to bring that to the West Coast, and we're working on some stuff. So sooner than later, for sure, there's some stuff in the works.
That's crazy. Basically, like, yeah, those dates that you're doing, it's basically just like a 1 day, 2 day like festival, you know?
Yeah, it became a festival. That was early days when I was talking, like my Asian is a good friend, and we were talking about like the whole vision of this early on, and it was the intention was for it to become the type of festival in the future, because I think now there's starting to be a lot more diversity, I think,
Hmm.
in festival lineups, but usually it would have been pretty focused to like specific parts of the
Yeah.
world. I love the fact that now you can have, even on Coachella lineup, right? Like you have
Yeah.
Bad
I was
Bunny
about to say, yeah.
headlining right next to like Burna Boy. At the same time, you'll have like
Sick,
Billie
man.
Eilish and like, you know, so it's
Uh-huh.
like it's really cool to have more global music that's really having a huge influence on the taste of the internet, like the entire world be present on lineups.
Yeah. And let's talk about that too. Cause you have a few accolades under your belt. You've won a Grammy, you performed at Coachella, you're basically
Yeah.
hosting your own, festival, and you've had a song for the World Cup. And I'm wondering, do you have like what's your next lofty goal?
I really am focusing on this project. To me, this project is like the the point in my life, because I've been working on music for a while now. Like at this point in my life, I feel like I've developed all these really cool relationships around the world. And part of what I've been able to do as a producer, producing other people's projects, has been to kind of bridge different parts of the world and put a stamp, basically like here's what I want to bring to the music industry as a whole. Like I want to see more collaboration amongst these different parts of the world that I feel like are super similar to, but that maybe you might not know if you hadn't heard it in this
Hmm.
context. So like for example with Arcoiris on J Balvin's Colores album, it was like putting Mr. Easy and Balvin on a song together. It was really cool because it's like Colombia and Nigeria listen to a lot of the same songs, but you wouldn't know that had you not met somebody from that part of the world, and you likely wouldn't have unless you were traveling. And it was cool to like connect those guys, and they're both really good friends, and then make that song for an album that wins a Grammy was like insane to me. So I basically for my project want to do that with so many different parts of the world, and it's been really cool. It's been a long time in the making, but Clueless is the first song from this project, and I think there's a lot of very surprising and unexpected collaborations that I think are going to make a lot of sense when you see it in context with the rest of them.
Okay, let's talk about more about the collaborations too, because I think you're cousins with Jay Perry, right?
Yes, yeah,
Your
it's my
cousin was Jay
cousin.
Perry. Your
Yeah,
dad used to be an artist back in the 80s. He was in a band. And I
yeah,
think even your sister has made like some like EP art for you, right? Like some for some of your
yeah.
songs.
She's an amazing artist. My dad, my brother as well. I think I actually have my dad's artwork from this project. I can show you really quick. This was my dad's
Oh yeah,
my dad.
Scandal. Yeah.
Yeah. So that was his album
That's
art.
crazy. Wow.
But he's
Has he
really
ever
influential in my life.
has he ever played like on any of your songs? Like backing?
Uh, so I always run it by him. Any song that I'm putting out, I always run it by him. And I love the fact that at this point in my life, I have such a close relationship with him when it comes to music, and like I can really appreciate what he was doing when he was in his band days and he was producing. And I actually only very recently, like in the last couple of years, was thinking back to childhood, and we used to have a studio room. We had like a little studio room in our house. And I now realize like, wait, that's not normal. Like most people probably don't have a studio room in their
Yeah,
house
yeah, yeah.
until now. And then I was like, whoa, that's why I'm a producer. It's definitely because both my dad and my mom played instruments and loved music. So yeah, I'm grateful. And of course, with my sister, the rest of my family, my cousin, we were all really close. So I think it makes sense that we all ended up doing some form of creative work.
Yeah. And then I believe like when you're younger too, I think your family, like your parents and you wanted to be a doctor originally, right? Like a pediatrician or something like that.
Yeah, I was pre-med in college.
Mhm.
I volunteered at hospitals in
Yeah.
Haiti. that was my ultimate goal. Was like I wanted to give back to the country any way possible. And since I was a little kid, I felt like being a doctor was going to allow me to do that. But then I guess through making music, yeah, while I was a pre-med, actually, my biology advisor, Dr. Campbell, he pulled me aside one day because he was a great mentor for me, and he just told me like, I've been following what's happening with the music on the internet, because I'd update him. I'd be like, hey, you know, like this thing just went viral on Hype Machine, and it's like, whoa, that's so cool. And he one day he just told me like, is this normal? Is this something that happens for people? And I was like, I don't think so. Like I think it's whatever's happening now is like pretty crazy, and maybe I should think about doing it seriously. And he was like, no, you should absolutely do this seriously. And then he took me to go to the dean of the school, and was basically like, he needs to try this. Like we need to figure out a way, because I had a scholarship. And
Yeah.
we were really scared of dropping the scholarship because I would not be at college without it.
Uh-huh.
They were really accommodating. They held my scholarship for me and just let me try it, and that was it. I went from being pre-med to then getting to make music as a full-time career, and I always kept that spirit of why I wanted to be a doctor, which was to give back to my country and to give back to anybody that I could that helped me along the way. So I felt like with music, it opened a lot of doors to do bigger picture stuff.
Yeah, I would say you would have like a different impact as a doctor, but still greatly helping, you know.
Yeah. It's been really special, I think, more recently, where like I've been able to work on fundraiser projects with hospitals in the country, and like do like wider sweeping, more public facing things that help multiple doctors. And I think that's like, it's part of why this kind of career is so special, is like when you get a platform. I feel like if you have a platform and you have the ability to benefit as many people as possible, you know, like why not? And it just comes back to being the perspective that I have, I think, in my life is, I'm so grateful for it, because I was always very aware of how blessed I was at any point, like any given point. Like I was able to go to school and I didn't have to worry about like basic needs that were definitely not widely available in Haiti. And yeah, I think like if you grow up with that kind of perspective and awareness, it's really hard to brush it off. Like you keep that as a core part of who you are.
You think they still have that scholarship on hold for you, or?
No, it was 5 years. It was 5 years. But I gotta say, it's so cool because like on the Wikipedia for the school, there's like a notable alumni, and I'm a notable alumni. So they gave me a nice like shout, even though I didn't graduate. They still consider me alumni, which is pretty sweet.
Great. Yeah, that's so cool.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for taking time to do the interview, Michael. But before we wrap things up, I just want to know too, you know, like what's next in the pipeline? You know, like let's end the message with like, you know, a message with your fans, you know, like, you know, where can people find you on social media? You know, like what you have up next, people want to know.
For sure. So this project that I've been working on is going to be dropping throughout the entire year. Clueless is the first release, but there's a lot of music coming, a lot of music, not just, and the thing is like, at the same time as my project's dropping, I also produce for a lot of artists. So you're going to hear my name quite a bit, I think, over the next like couple months. And yeah, I put so much passion and love into this, and it's my absolute favorite music I've ever made. So keep an eye out. There's a lot of teasers. If you look at my socials, I think everything's Michael Brun. It's just at Michael Brun. You should be able to see, like, if you look closely, you'll find I've been teasing some of the projects and some of the collaborations, but there's a lot more that I haven't teased yet. So I can't wait for everybody to hear it. There's going to be some huge shows announced soon too, and touring with West Coast dates. And yeah, I'm excited. So you should come to one of them.
Yeah, definitely.
Not too far for you.
I mean, if you're doing like, you know, LA or something, I could make that.
Yeah. So for sure, there'll be some cool things in the pipeline. But like, yeah, the rest of the year is so much new music, a lot of really cool collaborations, and I'm grateful for the support. So thank you for the interview.